Okay, welcome to the P3 Method Futures of Forex forecast for the week of July 24th. It's going to be really good. Just a quick review of trades that we were looking at earlier for this week. We had some good things happen. What we're going to be looking for next week is for the stock futures. Let's start with the stock futures, the ES, and the different indices. We were expecting it to pull down a little bit, but it made another high here with some divergence happening in the Williams R. So I'm expecting it to have that pullback that we were kind of expecting for this week. But the advanced decline line is still really strong, and so you never know, it could keep on going up. But I expect maybe if it continues to go up, eventually we'll get overextended to come back down. So we're looking for these 3-bar reversals right in here, and then have our stops right up in here and expect it to come down into this area. So, but when it really comes down to it, we're going to be looking for buy signals as they come. If the markets do come down into here, we're still very bullish, and we'll be looking for the market to, especially if this advanced decline line keeps going up. So that is our play next week for the stock futures. We were also looking at the middles. We were looking for a small pullback. They also could continue to go up a little bit. And today, let's disable that advanced decline line. Today we got our move back down. It went up a little bit more right into here. We were looking for that 3-bar reversal. It actually came up a little bit more. And then yesterday and today, Thursday and Friday, it came back down. So we're expecting it to kind of linger in this area a little bit. We're looking for buy signals as Williams R gets oversold, and this one follows along. If we get both of those like we did here, perfect setup for a buy signal. So we'll be looking for buy signals next week for that, maybe a little bit more of a pullback and consolidation as we prepare for the next leg up in the middles. Gold is also in that same position. We are looking at gold here, where we were expecting it to come down a little bit, had a big up day on Tuesday, and then we've come down since then. So I'm expecting again some consolidation a little bit, maybe a little bit more of a pullback, some choppiness around here, but I am expecting this to keep its bullish run. So we're going to be looking for buy signals. So what do we actually look for here? What I'm looking for is a formation of some sort of candle like this, where we get a move down and then a wick to go back up, and then the next day breaking above that high is a buy signal for us back to the upside in gold and silver. Natural gas has been one that I've been watching for a while, and it finally has been making a move that I've been waiting for, which is great. Stayed within our zones of our stops, and then it finally came down and then made a breakthrough of this trend line, which is a very positive sign for the bulls. Now, this price open interest volume, the volume hasn't quite followed, so we're going to be careful on this. Maybe look for a pullback down like this on Monday or Tuesday, and then expect Wednesday, Thursday, possibly to get back up to these higher levels, even with the Williams %R in this overbought territory, where we're still looking for this to maybe make a move to the upside. So good news on natural gas after a few weeks of watching for this one to move. Okay, on to the grain markets. We are sitting pretty on this trade. Earlier in the month, when we were looking at buy signals here, we did have a specialist trap where it came down and broke the low, but immediately came back up. And we said if it could get back to the previous high, then we're bullish. And sure enough, came up, had a down day, and then 2 really big up days. And it's pulled back a little bit since then, but this is the area, exactly the area that we were looking for to take profits. I admittedly am still in some of my contracts. I'm waiting for it to come back a little bit higher on this one, and just I'll try to let my winners win. I'm going to be placing my stops below this candle's low, so it's Tuesday's low of 490 area. That's where my stops are on this. If the market comes down to there, I want to be out of this market. But other than that, I'm going to leave some of those contracts to keep on running. The wheat market is in a similar situation. We got some big up days here and here, and on some of the news was Russia Ukraine related, and kind of had a pullback, and then we got some big moves back to the upside there. So this one I'm also looking at possible extension and continuation of this uptrend up into these areas. But if it does come up back up to here, I'm probably going to take most profits and then leave just a small position to keep running. But this is something, again, we were waiting for the last couple of weeks, and we finally got that big move back above the 700 area right in here. So great trade there in the grain markets. Crude oil was another market we were looking at possibly shorting. It was kind of a short-lived short position. It's kind of come back up. So we're going to hold off a little bit, let this get a little overbought again, and possibly come up into this area. I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I didn't really see it getting up to the 80. I still kind of feel that way. I still feel like we'll get up here and then maybe stall a little bit, come back down into these ranges. But it's always possible that it could just keep on running. So we're just going to keep a tight look on this and keep tight stops if we decide to get in based off of previous pivot points. But for now, we'll keep our powder dry on this one. Okay, so let's take a look at these Forex markets. Let's look at the dollar yen. This was a market that we were looking for buy signals down in this area. We waited for it to come down, and we had a great success with this trade. Coming up even just back up to these pivots. Last night it went up even more. You can see here on the 4-hour we had a perfect setup with the ADX stochastic combo that we look for, and it created higher highs, higher lows, and it made the move that we were expecting. The euro yen was also a trade that we were looking at as well. Here's the euro yen, right back up to these previous highs, and is now kind of consolidating. So what now? What do we do with this trade right now? If you're still in it, I would bring your stops to today's low, basically right in here. Whether you're on the euro yen or the dollar yen, look at putting your stops at today's low right here and letting this run. If it comes back to today's low after all that volume, then it's probably going to come back down, but it's very possible you want to keep holding on to this. So if you're out like I am, for the most part, look for it to come back to these pivots and look for another setup for a buy signal back to the upside on the dollar yen. I don't see anything changing fundamentally on this one, so that's what I'm going to be looking for on these particular pairs, the euro yen and the dollar yen. We were also looking to go long the CAD Swiss franc. The CAD Swiss franc is making a move back to the upside. Here we are at these previous lows on the daily. It overextended down. We had an ADX stochastic setup, and sure enough, we got it to go up. Now, it did come down a little bit. This is very typical of this type of trade, where you get this type of setup, it overextends, pounces back up, and then comes down to test, and it forms a higher low, and then creates another move to the upside. Now, that doesn't always happen. Sometimes it comes and breaks down. If it gets to the prior day's low right here, this candle's low, then we're probably going to see another formation down in here, maybe extension lower. So just be careful on this one. But again, it gave us a perfect setup for this buy. We saw it go up. And if you're not in this market, we'll wait for a formation and see if it can continue. But if you're still in it, bring your stops and let it ride. The Aussie Kiwi was a trade that we were looking at a few weeks ago, looking for that move, and it lingered down in here for a little bit, came down, but we finally saw this market move back to the upside. Look at the daily, making a nice upward move back to these highs that we were pretty much targeting on there. And so made a little bit of money on this one. I was more heavily in the dollar yen and the euro yen, looking at those pairs. But this was a market that we were looking at going long. So now the train, I think, is kind of left the station. What you may want to do is look for another pair that has has a better setup. So let's look at a couple more reviews before we go to that. The pound Canadian dollar was one that we were looking at selling. And we mentioned it 2 weeks ago, and then last week we said, hey, this could be it. And sure enough, we got a move of about 400 pips back down this week. And then today it kind of had a recovery. You can see right in here, we're getting a possible move back to the upside. So what I'm expecting for this particular pair is to see it come down, have a formation of a lower low, and then break that high. If it does that, then let's jump on this back to the upside up in this area. But I think the pound might be losing some steam as well. I made some money on selling the pound dollar. Let's take a look at that. We mentioned buying the dollar against the yen. We also mentioned selling the dollar against the pound, and basically selling the pound against the dollar. So, and look where it came back down, right back down to these pivots. That's what we're targeting. When it overextends like that, it gives us these signals. We're looking to place targets, which is where we did this time, at these previous pivots. And you can see we got this market to come down back to these areas, and right in here, perfect target placement just based off of previous pivot points. We get this set up, it starts to roll over, we capture a move and capture pips. This was a great trade earlier in the week, and so we're going to be looking for a possible move back up to the upside. Probably not that much, probably back up into this area, but I'm thinking this isn't done. I'm thinking it might keep coming down a little bit more. You can see the momentum's down on the daily, but if it does come back down to these levels, I'm going to be a buyer and see if it comes back up, maybe even create some sort of head and shoulders type pattern. But that's what I'm going to be looking for this week in regards to some of these trades. I'm looking for a pullback to buy the dollar yen and the euro yen, and I'm looking for the pound dollar to possibly do the same, go up and then have another leg down. Okay, that's going to be it for the week of July 24th. Hope you'll have a great week of trading. So far, so good. A lot of the trades that we've called out the last few weeks have hit, and have been. It's been a great few weeks to start off this program. So appreciate you hanging with me. Wish you the best with your trading, and we will talk to you next time. Okay, take care.